Hello and welcome or welcome back. Today I am so excited to share this video. This video has been months in the making. I was waiting to make it. I knew I was going to make this video and I just needed to wait for the outcome that I have been envisioning in order to make this video, and I just received that outcome this morning. And I want to share with you how I created a really unfavorable situation and then uncreated that same situation. And I've just come from that moment where it is now no longer a situation, and I want to share everything with you from beginning to end. So you want to stick around. My name is Hedley Derenzie. I am a qualified life coach and author. I am also super passionate about the amazing teachings of the law of assumption as originally taught by the wonderful Neville Goddard. It is the stories we tell that create our life. So if you want to change your life, you have to change the stories you're telling. And if you want to create the most amazing life, then you need to know how to tell the most amazing stories. And that is why I am here. I am a storyteller. I'm passionate about stories. I'm telling myself better stories as a result of these teachings, and I want to help you to do the same. If you would like further support with this, I am available for one-on-one coaching and email coaching. I am also on Instagram if you want to connect there. All of those details are in the box below. All right, let's get into this. Okay, so as I said, I am super excited to share this video. This video has been months in the making, about a situation that I created back in June and just uncreated that situation as of this morning. And so I have been waiting a while to make this video, but here I am. And I want to share it with you from beginning to end because I used the law of assumption the whole way through this process. And I want to share this story with you so that it might inspire you and just to make it a bit more to help put these teachings into context, because I find that examples do help to do that. So back in June, I started a new job, and on the first day that I went to this new job, I parked in a particular place where there was no signage. I didn't know, what the rules were or anything like that. Thought I was doing the right thing. Went to work, came back, and there was a parking ticket on the screen of my car. Now, in the past, when I've had parking tickets, I've immediately just thought, oh my God, damn, like that's so annoying. But this time I saw the parking ticket and I thought, wow, I really am that powerful, because the day before I received this parking ticket, I was driving my car and I got lost in a story about how I haven't had a parking ticket for years. And I've moved to a new area and I literally got lost in a story of, wow, I haven't had a parking ticket for ages. Like, I wonder what they cost these days. And I actually played out the last time that I could remember getting a parking ticket. And without knowing, and I had been using the law of assumption for some time by this stage, but I had lost myself in an unconscious use of my imagination where I was playing out the last parking ticket that I could remember getting, which was years and years ago, to the point where I had forgotten, like, I didn't know what it was like to get a parking ticket. I couldn't remember what they cost. And I had played this story out in my mind the previous day. So when I got to my car that day, I immediately knew that I had created that parking ticket because I had been engaging my imagination unconsciously in that story. So I had been playing out the story of getting a parking ticket, and there it was on the screen of my car within 24 hours. And I just immediately thought, wow, that is amazing. So I didn't go into the old story of like how annoying that was. I mean, it is annoying, obviously, to get a parking ticket. But the other thing about this parking ticket, it was so expensive. Like, I had been asking what a parking ticket cost these days, and from what I remembered, it was like $100. And the ticket that I saw on my car that day, it was for $280 something. And I just thought, that's crazy. And I didn't want to be paying $280 for a parking ticket, especially when I thought I was doing the right thing. But also, more importantly, I had created it out of nothing, out of thin air, using the law of assumption unconsciously. So, because this stuff works whether you know it or not. So with that in mind, I thought, all right, I'm going to delete this ticket. I'm going to get rid of this ticket. This ticket does not exist. Now, this is not about denying reality, but it's an interesting balance, and that's what I want to talk about in this video as well. So I started to engage revision to where I came back to my car and there was no ticket on the screen. So I did that. I played that out a few times, and then I got a letter from the revenue office saying that I hadn't paid this ticket. And I was like, fuck, because I was revising it to have not got that ticket. So I was really kind of shocked to get that letter in the mail to say that I hadn't paid it because I'd been revising it. So I thought, all right, well, I'm just going to show up to this and continue to hold the vision of that ticket being no longer in existence. So I wrote a letter to the Office of Revenue and I explained the situation and I asked them to dismiss the ticket. And I continued to revise the situation, and I got a letter back from the office saying, thanks so much for your letter, but you're still going to have to pay the ticket. So again, I'm like, what's going on here? Because I was using the law of assumption to delete the ticket and for it to have never happened, but it kept showing up in my 3D that this ticket still existed. So then I thought, all right, well, I'm going to keep going with this process because I know that the ticket doesn't exist. This ticket does not exist. I created the ticket. I can uncreate the ticket. That was really my whole position throughout this entire situation. Was I created this, I can uncreate it, and I know that I have the power of the law of assumption on my side. That when used consciously, well, when used unconsciously or consciously, it works anyway. So I'm going to use it consciously. So then I applied for the case to go to court because that was the next step in this process. And so then I get the notification to say that my court date was on this particular day. Since receiving that letter and today, which was the court appearance that I was required to attend, I continued to revise this situation so that I never got a ticket. And last night, as I was going to sleep, I was envisioning how this case was going to play out, and I could still feel myself, I still felt like I hadn't quite grasped this revision technique. That it wasn't set. Like I was like, it could go either way. I still didn't feel 100% about it. So last night, I had the idea, if I want to revise a situation, then I need to revise it so that it never happened, because I was revising it that I came back to the car where I parked and the ticket wasn't there. But what I did last night, just before I went to sleep, I changed up the whole situation where I played out the scene in my mind where I parked my car where I parked it and then had the thought, no, this doesn't feel right. I'm going to park it on the other side of the street. So what I did in my mind, I played out this scene where I didn't actually park there. I parked on the other side of the street in what was a legal parking place. Not that I knew that where I parked was illegal, but I went and parked somewhere where I knew was legal. And then I walked across the road and I walked to work. And then when I came back to the car, I came back and there was nothing on the screen because I was parked in an illegal place. So I played this scene out over and over and over again last night, and I fell asleep to that scene. And then this morning I went to court, and I hadn't done this before, so I don't know how any of this works. I didn't have a lawyer or anything like that. I just showed up. I brought Neville with me because I knew that I'd probably have to wait. And so I was sitting in the waiting room and I'm watching everything, and everyone's got their lawyers and it's all very, serious, and I've got my court clothes on, as you can see. And I just sort of asked a few people how this all goes, and I was just told that I had to wait and then my name would be called. So as I'm sitting outside the courtroom waiting for my name to be called, I continued to play out the scene where my car was parked on the other side of the street, there was no ticket, and the judge was dismissing the case because there was no ticket. So I also played out walking back to my car, having the judge just dismissed the ticket. So the whole way through, I'm playing out the end result as if it's already happened. Now this is where it gets really phenomenal. When my name was called, I went in, my heart was racing, like it's quite full on. You go into the courtroom and the judge asked to confirm my name, and she also said, and this is really interesting because when you go into the courtroom, they ask you to make a plea, guilty or not guilty. That's just always, it's a court proceeding. So the judge will ask your name and then what do you plead? When I went in, the judge confirmed my name, but she didn't ask what I was pleading. She said, so your name is Hedley Derenzie and you're pleading guilty to this ticket. And all I said was yes. I didn't plead anything. I had not told anyone what I was pleading. I didn't have a lawyer. There was like, I had never said guilty or not guilty to anybody. Then she asked me to sit down on the table. She then read the case and she just looked up and she just said, this is not a case. It's dismissed. You don't have to pay the ticket. Thank you very much. I was in the courtroom for less than 2 minutes and I didn't say a word other than yes and thank you. That was it. And I walked out and I walked back to my car exactly as I had envisioned myself walking back to the car with the ticket not existing. The judge did all the talking in order for that case to be dismissed. And I did not have to say a word. All I said was yes and thank you. And I was asked to leave the courtroom as if it never happened. And I think, well, in my mind, the way that is because I had revised the situation to where I had parked the car elsewhere. There was no case. There was no ticket. It was completely revised in my mind and I had continued to play out the situation. And here I am. And I'm also sharing this video. This is the video that I have been envisioning making for the last 3 months, 4 months, however long since I got that ticket, which was back in June. I have been envisioning making this video, this exact video of sharing this story of how I revised an unfavorable situation that I originally created to it never existing. And so here we are. And I'm so happy because I have been working with these teachings and this situation in particular played out exactly as I have been envisioning, to the point where I walked back to the car, to the point where I'm sitting in front of here. And it's just, you know, I'm just so excited to share this because I know it might sound small, but for me, this has been months in the making and months of revisioning and trying to figure out, okay, this ticket keeps showing up. What else do I need to do? Because I know that this ticket does not exist and yet I'm still getting evidence that it does. I was able to really work this through and that's why I wanted to share this because you really can revise any situation that you create because it all starts in imagination. So if you have created an unfavorable situation, you can uncreate that the same way you created it with your imagination and with the power of revision. And I would suggest revising the situation to how you would have preferred that situation to have played out. And then continue to play it out, rehearse it, continue to perform it until it becomes more natural than what your original experience was. So that's all I wanted to share today. I am so happy to be sitting here sharing this story. I know it seems like maybe just a little one, but it's so big because this really is evidence that these teachings are so true and so powerful and they can really, they're the keys to life. You know, this is the keys to life is in your imagination and you can create and recreate anything. Depending on what you decide to be true. Thank you for being here. If you would like to share, please feel free to share with family and friends. You can also subscribe to my channel. There's a button somewhere. And I will look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.